Okay, and it says we're live.
Did you say we're live?
Yes.
That was fast. Okay, we are live. My apologies, Facebook land. We were having some WebEx challenges, but it looks like we are up live now. Welcome to our April Town Hall celebrating National Poetry Month. This evening, we've brought together young poets and members of our community who help promote poetry and the spoken word. The spoken word is very powerful, from Rumi to Emily Dickinson, from the songs of Simon and Garfunkel, John Lennon, Common, Malcolm London, to Maya Angelou, Yasmin Kaur, and the recent riveting Amanda Gorman, and everybody in between. Poetry in all of its forms inspires us throughout the years and has even moved us to action. I myself have opaque snippets of poems on the windows and mirrors of my house to remind us all to take a breath, recognize how wonderful it is to be alive, and to remind ourselves that we're all but a bit of dust in a cosmos that was here long before we arrived and will be here long after we leave. I have several poems I'll share with you tonight in between hearing from staff from Loudoun County Libraries and the 2020 County Public Library Rhyme On Winners, and also a statewide winner of Strong Men and Women Poetry Contest this year. Most of the poems I will share come from women because those resonate with me the most, and I'm proud to say that now women can actually write poetry in their real names. And we even have our first Native American woman poet laureate in the country right now. So that's progress. But I encourage everyone to seek out words that inspire you, whether in songs or poems or going to spoken word events. Sometimes just a short snippet before you go to bed at night or even in the middle of the day can offer a perspective and a cleansing sigh. Tonight we have with us Susan Van Epps, who's Division Manager of Programming and Community Engagement for Loudoun County Libraries. We also have Miranda Madro, Adult Services Librarian, Eric Vares, Children's Librarian at Brambleton Library. To open us up, I am going to share one of my favorite poems that when I first read it reminded me of my mother. And so much so that I actually have cross-stitched this poem for her, and it's hanging in the hallway of her home as you walk in the door. The poem is called Warning by Jenny Joseph, but we in my house like to call it the purple poem. When I am an old woman, I shall wear purple, with a red hat which doesn't go and doesn't suit me, and I shall spend my pension on brandy and summer gloves, and stain satin sandals, and say we've no money for butter. I shall sit down on the pavement when I'm tired, and gobble up samples in shops, and press alarm bells, and run my stick along the public railings, and make up for the sobriety of my youth. I shall go out in slippers in the rain, and pick the flowers in other people's gardens, and I'll learn to spit. You can wear terrible shirts and grow more fat and eat 3 pounds of sausages at a go, or only bread and pickle for a week. And you can hoard pens and pencils and beer mats and things in boxes. But now we must have clothes that keep us dry and pay our rent and not swear in the street. And we must set a good example for the children. We must have friends to dinner and read the papers. But maybe I ought to practice a little now, so people who know me are not too shocked and surprised when suddenly I am old and start to wear purple. So that's one of our favorites in my household, and it comes from this book. So with that, I'm going to introduce Susan Van Epps, who is going to talk about the poetry resources in our library. So thanks so much for being here, Susan.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Supervisor Briskman. That was a wonderful poem. I really enjoyed that, so thank you for sharing it. And on behalf of the library, I'd just like to say thank you to you, to your Chief of Staff, Ray Banks, and to Aide Zachary Harris for inviting the library to participate in tonight's program. In just a moment, you'll get to hear from a couple of my wonderful colleagues at the library who are going to tell you about a poetry contest we're running right now. And but first, I wanted to share a few resources, like you said, about poetry that we have that are available for anybody who's interested in poetry. So right now, if you go to our website at library.loudoun.gov/staff picks, we have a bunch of resources already curated for you in honor of National Poetry Month. This includes our collection of poetry ebooks and audiobooks that we have sorted out for all ages. We also have access to more than 700 films on classic and contemporary literature, authors, and poetry. These films can be streamed right to your laptop from your library account. And if you have an HDMI cord, you can actually connect it to your television and watch these films on your TV. So it's a great resource we have available through the Kanopy e-resource on our website. So look for Kanopy if you're interested in the films. You should also know that we have a self-paced course available that you can take on Poetry Writing 101, and it's available for free through Universal Courses. I checked it out, and this course has 13 different components to it. It teaches you everything you could possibly need to know about reading, interpreting, and writing poetry. It's been called, quote, must take for any budding poet out there who wants to hone their skills and learn to write high quality poetry that everybody can appreciate. So I didn't even know this resource was out there, but I checked it out. It looks really thorough and really in depth. So if you're a budding poet or you're already a poet, check it out and see what you think of it. And as always, we do have hundreds of printed poetry related books as well. And you should know that you can get help from any of our staff at any branch in our library system. They're ready to help you in person, by phone, and online using a new feature we have called Chat Now. It's also called Ask a Librarian, and it's featured on our homepage. There's a little box that you'll see that you can click to get information. And our homepage, again, is library.loudoun.gov. And last but not least, know that if you're interested in any of these resources, but you don't already have a library card, we have made it super easy for you to get one. All you have to do is go to our homepage again, go to the bottom of the page, and there's a link. It says, get a library card. You click that, it opens up a form that you fill out, and you can be right on your way to getting access to information and books straight from your computer. And if you didn't know, if you're interested in curating any books that you want to have available for pickup at your local branch, you can order those, you can request those from the website and have them transferred from any branch in our system, and they will be delivered right to your home branch for pickup. So that's great. And other than that, I just wanted to share the message of please come visit us. We miss you, and we are open 6 days a week for both curbside pickup and for on-site browsing in the branches. We also have more than 25 programs and special activities a week. They are highlighted on our homepage again on the calendar function. So just look for the calendar on our website, library.loudoun.gov. You can also go to library.loudoun.gov/programs, and that'll pull up our calendar. So thank you again, Supervisor Briskman. I hope some of these resources will be helpful to some of our participants tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Susan. Loudoun Libraries are a fantastic resource that you guys just have so many resources available for our community, even downloading books on your iPad and reserving books when you need them. And you always have the most contemporary literature as well. And I can't say enough for your children's programs that my kids and I took advantage of when we were young. So, and with that, we also would have Eric and Miranda who are going to share a few words about the libraries.
Thank you, Supervisor Briskman. I'm Miranda. I'm from Brambleton Library, and I'd just like to share another LCPL offering with you. It's called Rhyme On. It's to celebrate National Poetry Month. It's our 8th annual adult poetry writing contest. Adults, Loudoun County residents, and some neighboring counties can submit a poem to one of 4 categories. We have love poems, poems about Loudoun, funny poems, and free verse poems. Entries will be accepted until May 15th, and the winners will be announced on the Loudoun County Public Library website on June 15th. You can find out more about Rhyme On at library.loudoun.gov/rhymeon. You can also read the winning poems from 2020 on the same website. That's library.loudoun.gov/rhymeon. I'm particularly excited to advertise Rhyme On because of my personal enthusiasm for poetry. This enthusiasm definitely stems from my parents, Stan and Nancy. They both have a deep love of art and poetry, and they surrounded me with it while I was growing up. I often heard my dad recite poems and song lyrics quite spontaneously and with theatrical gusto. There was Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder where you're at. Up above the world you fly like a tea tray in the sky. That's Lewis Carroll. When I was with him at Dairy Queen, he would say a quote from Wallace Stevens, "The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream." And whenever we ate pancakes or waffles or French toast, my dad would take the opportunity to say, "Roses are red, violets are purple, sugar's sweet, and so is maple syrup." That's actually a line from a Roger Miller song. And I have really fond memories of my mom and I watching Anne of Green Gables. Anne was so passionate and in awe of poetry. Oh my goodness, I'm at the library right now and we're having an announcement that we're closing soon.
They might let you stay since you work there.
I think so, yeah, it's not close for me. Yeah, so Anne of Green Gables with my mom, it was like we were having our own little poetry club together. And my parents' love of poetry ran so deep that they actually recited a poem to each other instead of doing traditional marriage vows. It was Shakespeare's sonnet number 29, if anyone knows that one. And then I went to Michigan State University to do an English major because of my parents and their surrounding me with art and poetry. And I learned that I could make intimate connections with people I'd never met by reading poems, and that I could become more socially aware by learning about the wide range of human experiences through poetry. Now, as a librarian, I'm surrounded by a family of colleagues who share my passion for literature and poetry, like Eric, who you'll hear from in just a moment. I memorize poems for fun and recite them to my parents, and I do things like volunteer to judge the Rhyme On contest, so I can enjoy reading poems written by residents from my community, all thanks to my parents and Twinkle Twinkle Little Bat. So now I'll introduce Eric, who's a fellow fan of poetry from Loudoun County Public Libraries as well.
Okay, thanks, Miranda. Thanks for introducing me and for sharing that story about your family and your parents. And for me, the way poetry works for me is similar to how you were inspired by your parents. I actually really got into poetry when I became a dad. So I have a 4-year-old at home. Her name's Freya, and she's my only kiddo. And when I found out I was going to be a dad, all my friends were really excited, which is very nice. And I was excited, my wife was excited, and everyone had all kinds of things to say about what it means to be a parent. And some of the words they would use are rewarding, amazing, life-changing. Some words no one ever used, frustration, powerless, struggle. My daughter is the best thing in my life, but being a parent has been the greatest emotional challenge of my life as well. I love being a dad, but it can be very difficult processing like the strong emotions that come with that. Specifically, one thing that really surprised me when I became a dad, and I'll get to the poetry in a little bit, the thing that really surprised me about being a dad is that when kids cry, they're not just crying and making noises, like they're legit crying, as in like when we cry, their emotions are so powerful that they cannot control their body at all. As in when you see a kid having their temper tantrum, they have not chosen to do that. They are out of control of their body because they're feeling every feeling inside their body. So I started getting into poetry because I needed help processing all the emotions I was feeling deep down inside. And I found that if I wrote them down, I was able to find words for what I was feeling. And then once I found those words, then I was able to better control what I was feeling and have a better understanding of that. So I will say, so I did bring a poem that I have written, inspired by my daughter and what it's like to be a parent. And so I will say, first of all, I've won 0 awards, so I would fall under that budding poet.
That's
category
funny.
to talk about. Yeah. I have, because I told my mom that I'm going to be doing this, and she was like, "Oh, that's great." I was like, "Yeah, I'm also going to be reading poems with people who've like won legit awards, like legit poets." And she was like, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "Yeah, it is what it is." So, um, this poem is called Tiny Fury. Oh, child, limbs flailing like trees in a storm, tears spilling from your eyes, mouth gaping in an unending scream. I am in awe of you. Your small fists beat the ground and the earth quakes. Your feet strike like lightning and I flinch. You are a tiny goddess, armor clad and shining, willing to raise the earth with your fury. And who am I? I'm a fool who's just learned that the authority of parenthood is an illusion. I hold no more power over you than I do the movement of the sun and the moon and the multitude of stars spinning throughout the cosmos. All I can do is watch, to bear witness to your agony, to endure its sting by your side. My instinct, older than humanity itself, compels me to pull you tight against my chest, heart pounding against pounding heart, and make it all right, to take away your pain, to absorb it deep within the marrow of my bones, leaving you carefree and smiling. But it's impossible. If I were to attempt a hug, you would thrash against me with such force, my heart would shatter. My beautiful, beautiful child. The hurricane pulsing beneath your skin flashes in a pattern that only I can decipher. You see, your torment is my torment. The pain you feel originated from the flow of my veins, from a pitch black bruise found at the very center of my heart. You rage across the kitchen floor, utensils scattered like debris from a bombing, while I say a silent prayer to the goddess above to give me a secret salve for your pain. I watch you burn like the sun, while the second hand slowly tears itself across the face of time. And when the flames eventually die, and your small face appears amid the billowing smoke, and I see that my child has returned to me, I promise then to scoop you up, hold you tight, give you kisses, and tell you that those hot, burning feelings, as painful as they are all right. And that's my poem. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thanks for sharing. My kids are older now, so it sort of brings me back. And I think we had some incidents like that at Cascades Public Library.
Yeah, I've learned, one lesson I learned is sometimes when they get themselves riled up, I want to make them feel better, but that's
Yeah.
not something I'm able to do.
Right, right. We just had a comment on Facebook actually. It says, please mention Twistable Turnable Man by Shel Silverstein. And the fellow on Facebook said he read it to his kids every night for many, many years. So maybe some good advice for folks who still have some younger kids. And Miranda, it sounds like your parents were a match made in heaven.
They definitely were.
Perfect match,
They
right?
really found each other. Yeah.
So thank you, librarians, for your comments. And now we will hear from our first winner from the 2020 Rhyme On Challenge from John Rowley. John was the winner of poems about in the poems of about Loudoun County category. John, before you tell us about the poem Me and Her Majesty Up on the Ridge, I'd love to hear what inspired you to write this poem.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I guess the poetry contest inspired me. I got the email about it, and I at the time, well, I'm stuck in China because of the pandemic, and I don't know. I just saw it, and I was just like, I gotta write about Loudoun County, my home. And so I wrote a couple poems about it, and this one in particular, I remember when I was 18, I was doing some work up past Bears Den somewhere on this like estate, and it was this big place with like pools and tennis courts, and it had just this beautiful view, and you could see like all of Loudoun County, and it just I just kind of had that image, and it seemed kind of like where I'm at now, not being physically in Loudoun County, kind of outside of it, looking back at it. And so I
That's
just
very
had
cool.
that. Yeah,
Are
thank
you
you.
in China right now?
I'm
Still?
in China right now. Yeah, it's
Wow,
it's
thank you so much for joining us. I so
it's
appreciate
great.
it. I can't wait to
Yeah,
hear your poem, and that's such a unique perspective. I can't wait to hear it.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, it's great. It's 7:40 in the morning over here, so I'm gonna go to work after this. But yeah, I remember this was like when things were kind of opening up over here in China, and I had the last line, and I was going to a Vietnamese restaurant with my wife, and me and Her Majesty up on the ridge, and I was like, I kind of knew, and I was like, oh, it's gonna start in Purcellville. That's where I'm from, and it's gonna kind of go through kind of Western Loudoun and end there, which is kind of how I felt. I guess not. I don't know if I was thinking it at the time, but Loudoun County being this place where I grew up, and I kind of left, but I've actually never had another permanent address, so I've kind of never left in a lot of ways. So yeah, and it was pretty cool. Like I had it in my head, and when we went to dinner, and then my wife saw this cat in the restaurant, and she was just amazed by this cat and just wanted to keep looking at this cat, and which gave me time to just kind of write it in my head. So we were just sitting there silently for a while. She's looking at this cat. I'm trying to write this poem, but it was kind of a beautiful moment, I think.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
All right. Here we go. Let me get some water. All right, here we go. Me and Her Majesty up on the ridge. I knew it was there, our time standing still. Me and Her Majesty in Purcellville. Those songs in the air, that spirit to fill. Me and Her Majesty out towards Round Hill. I eased off the speed like never before. Me and Her Majesty by Sleater's shore. We only had needs, there was nothing more. Me and Her Majesty at Hill High's door. I wrote it all down to hold it all in. Me and Her Majesty into Bear's Den. She hid every sound, we risked it again. Me and Her Majesty where Loudoun ends. I know she just lied, though loving I did. Me and Her Majesty crossed no man's bridge. I put it aside, for we were just kids. Me and Her Majesty up on the ridge. Thank you.
Oh, John, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think Miranda was mentioning there is an electronic book of the poems of the winners from 2020 and we're going to be putting the link on the Facebook Live. John, thank you so much for sharing. That was beautiful, and I actually will make sure that some of my colleagues who represent Western Loudoun will see and read your poem. I'm sure that they will love it.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know you have to go to work, so we won't. I just want to let you know we won't. We all know, and we won't be offended if you have to log off. But thank you so much.
Well, hopefully I stick around for a few more at least.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, so next, I would like to introduce Kimberly Ray, and she was a 2020 winner of the love category, and she's going to read her poem In My Pocket.
Thank you, Julie.
Uh-huh.
So first I want to thank Julie and the Loudoun County Public Library for hosting and the opportunity to present the poems from the 2020 Rhyme Poetry Contest. I first began my interest in poetry about 20 years ago, and I ramped up the last 5 years with spoken word poetry readings and publishing a poetry series, Coffee Shop Sessions. Currently reading Ada Ramone's Bright Dead Things, and currently also working on the NaPoWriMo chapbook contest with Local Gems Press. I will be reading In My Pocket, which won the love category, and it's also available in my latest poetry collection. And that is here we go. In my pocket. I fixed upon you out of the lot, pushed you deep into my pocket, but you crept out at the seams, with memories bursting like sunlight beams that couldn't be shadowed by my dark wrenched jeans. Your tapping heartbeat was answered with a rapping, but now it's time to rest. This love of ours was never meant to be addressed. A thumping in my chest could not be oppressed. My truth I did profess, my mind became obsessed. My body undressed while your silences were enough to protest that you were simply not impressed. Your navigation was headed east. Sheepishly I regressed as I laid myself down for a rest. This love fell deep into a rest, and I stowed away deep into my pocket. I will pull you out again when I need your radiant ways to pull me out of the darkest of days. Thank you.
Oh, that was amazing. And congratulations on your budding career as a poet. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write that one, In My Pocket.
I just think I was at a place where I was feeling some unrequited love, and I just had to think of like something that I've always been interested in, love poetry. So I was just thinking of something that I could do with the rhyming, and then fill in that theme.
Oops, I was on. Really great. Thank you so much for really and I am extremely excited to introduce now Zari Ford, is a sophomore at Rockridge and the 2021 of the Strong Men and Women in Virtual Writing Contest for the Northern Region, sponsored by Dominion Energy, Virginia, and Library. Welcome, Zari, and thank you for coming to share your poem. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Today I'm going to be reciting my poem. It's titled Colors. It's about my experience throughout the 8th grade in middle school, and it tells a story about how, as a child, you see everything as vibrant and there's so much energy, and everything you see is just fantastic. And in the 8th grade was where that transition started to happen for everybody, where people started to pair up in their own groups, and how I didn't fit in those groups because I was one of the only Black students in the classroom, and how I tried to change myself to fit in with everybody. Therefore, I lost my ability to see how wonderful the world around me is, and how I had to cope with this and learn how to grow. Okay, I'll begin. Blue skies, white clouds, green grass and pink shoes, brown feet on concrete, yellow sun brings heat. Tag or hide and seek, so many games to choose. How about soccer? I sure hope we don't lose. Run, kick, sweat, and play, soggy shirts and dirty knees. Time to go home already? 10 more minutes, please. Mom buys me ice cream at the McDonald's drive-thru. With all this wonderful weather, my day can't get any better. Tucked in and a kiss goodnight, warm milk puts me at ease. When I grow up, I'll play forever, and nobody can stop me. I grew up. With age comes wisdom. With wisdom comes power. With power comes responsibility. A sad reality visited me. Doors turned to cold floors, smart boards, and numbered doors. Fun and play turned to dreary hallways, child prodigies and bums array. Welcome to my 8th grade. Same bullies, new words, darkened is my rainbow. Underground lies my halo. Rest in peace, says the tombstone. I'm the blackest in my class, the Jim Crow amongst doves. Does my white paint my black, or does my black paint my white? I should change to make things right. Straight hair, skinny bones, blue eyes, and new clothes. I do my best to fit in, but sometimes I forget my skin tone. Class, today we're learning about slavery. I feel curious eyes turn to me. Up and down they look, every nook and cranny, thinking about where I would be in that history. Questions fall like raindrops in a hurricane. Are those extensions? Can you let me say the N-word? Your braids make you look like an alien, like the one from The Predator. Your hair looks so soft. Can I touch it? Wow. Feels like a cloud. If I had hair like yours, I'd be proud. Shot dead every day, a zombie crawling out of its grave. Every bullet takes a bit of black with it. Lacking knowledge in my culture, it's a deficit. Dark is bad. Lighten up. You're too young to be thinking about this stuff. Think about lipstick and makeup, iPhones and toys, manicures and pedicures, and joy. Well, what about the darkness and light? The death and life, dread and love, murder. Police on the streets could kill my family and me, and I can't remember my skin color. With age comes wisdom. With wisdom comes power. With power comes responsibility. A new reality visits me. Reflection, connection, meditation. Color is coming back to me. My grayscale world I no longer see. Writing is my therapy. My thoughts begin to speak. I hear and understand how depressed I used to be. Red, purple, green, blue, yellow, cyan, and orange. Once a rainy day with dismay is engulfed in a color explosion. Living in different worlds makes me wiser now. And with this new power, I hereby vow to remember who I am. Don't worry what others think. Black isn't bad, the opposite, really. It's bold, it's beautiful and unique. Blue skies, white clouds, colors back in stock. Brown feet taking steps to meet a dream down the sidewalk. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I'm so glad that I got to hear you, say the words rather than just reading them on a paper. I mean, either that was really powerful, Zaria, and congratulations on your win for the poetry contest. Can you tell us about maybe who has inspired you?
Well, my history with poetry, I got to hone my craft a little bit more at this poetry account I attended the summer of 7th grade. It was by Furious Flower. It was a camp that they had at JMU, and that was where I got to learn more about the craft and how to express myself, and that's how I was able to use that as an outlet to write colors.
That is so great. And so you're still writing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, I can't wait to see and hear more from. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for having
me. Hey, thank you. So with that, I would going to another favorite poem of mine from more contemporary author. Her name is Yasmin Kaur, a book that I bought maybe a year ago, and inspired to book because of the recent women's movement. And her is called When You Ask Me Where I'm Going. And the narrative is a little bit unconventional. And it is the book story refugee who flees trauma with her daughter. They invented in North America. And this very short poem with me. It's Scream. Scream. Say, 100 now. Another will not have to drive wondering where history lost her voice. So sometimes poems are short and but meaningful, powerful. So anyway, I highly recommend this book. With that, we are on to next 2020, and that is Gothard, and she is the winner voice category. To be reading her winning poem called Discussion Topic. And Kath, mispronounced your, please let me.
It's close. It's got heart, like got heart, got a heart.
Oh, beautiful. I can't wait to hear inspired you to write your poem and to hear your poem.
Okay. Well, I looked at some of the categories, and one of the categories was love, which Kimberly rocked it. And I thought to myself, you know, it's really hard to write a love poem. I've always found it very difficult. It's hard to kind of wrap my head around doing it traditionally. So I was like, oh, forget it. I'm just going to do free verse. Well, I had been writing a series of poems based on photography by a local photographer, Ethan Merlin. And so I decided to do this based on one of his pictures. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's a picture of a couple that he took in Washington, D.C. And they're an older couple, and they're kind of looking at each other and glaring at each other. And so I was wondering what their discussion was. So that's where it came from, discussion topic. You told me once, maybe 2 decades ago, in this same space by the window, coffee in hand, face mocking serious, true love endures beyond the grave. Except now I'm old enough to ask sincerely, what if there is no grave? Don't look at me funny. What if there's only the immortality of now, striking a pose like some bathing suit model gesturing to you, hips forward like you're still young, and I'm still the jealous type, and we've yet to have our children? And so I tell you, no, I'm not sure about forever love, my dear. Not sure about it at all. I'm not sure the waves would want to bear ours, nor am I sure sand would care to cradle it any longer. Tell me, when was it we last walked the shoreline, scrunching our toes around smooth rock and memory, kissed each other's fingers and watched the sunrise or set, does it matter which? Too long, and even then that sip of bitter coffee you just took longer compared to our years together. Is this what you wanted to carry into infinity? Look a little closer. See how time holds its breath, daring that same death to take it? It knows more than it tells, having seen the tides change, having asked from whence the water comes, having witnessed season beget season, night beget day, and yet still the mad drive to create something to outlast itself, when really there was never a need. Afterlife was always here. We were always here. Now, don't we feel silly?
That is It's amazing. And I do often wonder what people about when I see certain faces. Are you working on poetry right now? And can you tell us a little what inspires you?
Yeah, I'm constantly writing poetry, often at 3 in the morning. Get up in the middle of the night and decide, okay, enough of business writing. This time for a poem. So right now, I'm just kind of working on National Poetry Month, trying to write as many poems as I can. Last year, I did write 30 poems in 30 days, which is where I ended up producing this book. It was from Local Gems Press out of New York. And then I did include that poem in the book. So I get a lot of my inspiration from, just trying to collect my thoughts. I mean, we're just assaulted every day with so many different ideas and sensations and perceptions, and poetry is kind of how I synthesize the world and make sense of it. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. And I also have my mom to thank for my love of poetry and the written word.
That's really, thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you.
You go right with my poem that I read first.
Yes, I was gonna say I'm purple, but you know what? I'm not even waiting until like I'm old. All right, I'm just like getting there, and I'm not donning the old button yet.
No, you're definitely not. Okay, so we have one more artist who is with us. Final poem is Wilson. Amy won the first poem category with Ode to the Mobile Lounge. Amy, I'm glad you came up with this poem. So let's hear it and then let's discuss, or tell us first and then we'll hear it.
Thank you, Supervisor.
What order do you want to do?
So my inspiration for this poem was Loudoun County. I saw Loudoun County as one of the categories, and living in neighboring Fairfax County, I thought, what do I know about Loudoun County? And my first thought was Dulles Airport. So this poem represents my favorite part of Dulles Airport. Ode to the Mobile Lounge. Like mighty beasts of yore, across the blacktop plain, migrating door to door, depart, arrive again. What is this strange domain? Not van, not bus, not train. Once many, it is true, the numbers grew and grew. They roamed like caribou across the tarmac wide. A dream from '62, with seats and carpet hide. Oh, Mobile Lounge, our pride, the future's airport ride.
That was amazing. Funny. So, as annoying as those mobile lounges are, just on one because we've been like for so long. I don't think I'd mind the mobile lounge, and the mobile lounge was always very fun when you were trekking with two in town as well, right?
Yes, lots of space, and I just love how they represent the future of the past, the vision in the 60s and 70s of what the future of airport transportation would look like. So I see a lot of complaints about them online, but I just love them. And like one of the other presenters, I wrote this poem at about 3 in the morning after I came up with the idea.
Yeah, Omnia is inspiring. Or maybe it's just you have to frustrations out in one way or another. So Amy, do you write regularly? Are you? Yeah.
I write poems when I'm inspired to write them, maybe a couple per year. I get these ideas in my head and then just kind of ruminate on it. This one I wrote on my phone, actually, like late at night. I had an idea about just the mobile lounge and how it could be a funny topic, and just kind of wrote it from that inspiration. So I've always loved poetry. I wrote poems as a child as well, and I just kind of let it inspire me and then write down my thoughts.
That's fantastic. I always I was a journalism major, English and literature, and I was drawn to short story and the poem because I found it to be such a skill and an art form to be able to tell entire story and even some development in some, and so I find it's quite a skill. So congratulations to everybody, and thank you so much for sharing your poems. I'm going to read one poem which I is apt for the times that we're in. I said earlier, a lot of my that I resonate with are by women, and I think a particular piece by Maya Angelou. Read it. Get a chance to go watch Serena Williams' poem, the video behind it. It's actually inspiring, but I'll share this. I'll ask Susan to share how you can enter the 20 poetry contest. It's called I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write history with your bitter twisted. You may trod me in the very, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? You beset with gloom. Walk like I've wells in my loop. Just like moons with the certainty of tide, just like hope, I rise. Did you want to see me broken, out head, or eyes? Shoulders falling down like tear and by my soul eyes. Happiness offend you? Don't you take it awful. Laugh like I've got dig from backyard. You may word. You may cut me with. You may kill me with your hateful. Like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come in ways? That like I've got diamonds, of my thighs. The hut's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's I'm a black ocean wide and swelling, I bear. Leaving the terror, fear, I rise. To a day one clear, I rise. Gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the and the hope of a slave. I rise, I rise. All right. So Amy, Eric, I'm sorry, Amy, Susan, Eric, do you guys have any final thoughts or even the final, and Susan, if you're telling us how to enter the 2021 contest?
Sure, I could just tell you briefly, the contest is going on right now. The deadline is May 15th. All of the submissions are accepted via email. The email address, actually, the best place to go is to our website where we have all the rules about what size font to use. There's a special rules about what size font to use and how to place your name on the document so that the judging can be blind and things like that. But there's 4 different categories, as we heard tonight. The 4 categories are love, funniest, free verse, and Loudoun County. So those are the 4 categories. And then the judging is done by the library staff, and we do actually have some cash prizes at the end for the winners. So I'm going to send the email, the web address for the contest here to Zachary. Maybe he can put it in the Facebook chat or in the Facebook comments. It's library.loudoun.gov/news events/rhyme on. It's a little bit long, but it'll get you to all the rules and all the details.
All right, we will pop it in there. Do we have any other final comments? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say for anyone watching or listening that might be interested in poetry, I'm talking to one of my good friends, Troy, about at what point do you call yourself a poet? And the answer is the moment you write something down.
Yes.
And I know that like there can be a barrier to thinking like, oh, well, that's something I do, right? Like that's impossible. I need to be really good at it. But really for me, the value of poetry has been on a personal basis. And if I never shared, in fact, you guys are the first ones I've ever read that poem with. If I didn't share it with a single, it was still extremely valuable to me. And so I would say if you are nervous and you're like, I don't know if I can do this, because as adult humans, we tend to be very self-deprecating. Like, oh, I can't do that. Leave it to the professionals. But if you're worried about that, try to push that aside. Participate in the Rhyme contest, or even if you don't want to, just for yourself, because it's. I think it's tremendously valuable to be able to put words to. So that's all I got.
I completely agree. And thank you, Eric. I'm really glad that you said that because sometimes it is just taking that first step. And then before you know it, you've won a poetry contest and you're on your way. Eric, I think you're on your way. Keep writing. Do we have any other final comments from our poets? No pressure. That's fine. So the only other thing I would like to, first of all, thank you so much, Loudon Librarians and all of our poets for sharing. I hope everyone remembers your names. And I think what we'll probably do is we will, again, include that link, which has the electronic book of the 2020 winners, all their poems. And also we can share the winners' names as well and on the Facebook. Lastly, and not nearly as exciting as Poetry Month, this might be one of my favorite town halls ever, but lastly, I would like to share that our next town hall for my office is going to be on May 19th, and we're going to be talking about the General Assembly. And we're going to be talking about the General Assembly session and special session that occurred this year, and you know how those things might impact Loudoun County. So not as fun as, you know, and heartwarming as poetry, but if you're interested, please join us. My name is Julie Briskman. I'm supervisor for Algonquian District, Loudoun County. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can follow me on Facebook or Twitter, or you can email me at juli.briskman@loudoun.gov. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for bearing with our technical difficulties. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.